for 45 years this year, celebrating our 45th year. So started as an information service and then grew and merged and to become what we are today. So currently we have 3 main streams of funding. So we have our TEI funding, we have some CHSP funding to run Neighbour Aid program, which is home visiting and outings for our seniors, and we get some money from DSS, the Child and Parents program, Child Parents Support, I think the program is, sorry, and that's only a short-term project. And then we also have some other short-term money from the Office of Responsible Gambling. So we've got quite a few things happening. Yeah.
Excellent. So talking about your earlier intervention programs and your individual family support, what are some of the projects, activities that you're currently facilitating for the local community?
Through our TEI program, I've just been working on our annual report, and so last year we did 42 programs. Programs. So 20 odd of those were our Parent Connect group, which is a group for parents of children 0 to 8, and that runs every fortnight. And we provide child minding, so parents come along and have a break from their kids. Sometimes they do crafts and activities, other times it's guest speakers and a bit heavier topics. But it's a really easy way, and Brittany, our family support worker, is really great at using that group even when they're doing craft, it's more than craft, because they're talking about their parenting and they're sharing stories with each other, and it's a really great group. We called it Unwind to Shine, which was for dads, so dads could come in, basically stress management for dads. But so we had messy makers come in. I don't know if you've seen that program. Lay out all this lovely food-based stuff for the kids to play with, and they come in and they just make a mess. And then we've booked in, we had last year, we've booked in again this year, they're called Sing and Grow, and it's the same thing. So they come in and they sit with the parents and kids and do music as a way of learning. We've done some specialist ones on ADHD and autism, so compare it to getting those first steps when their child's been diagnosed. So, we base our programs on what we hear from the community, so they're changing all the time. But yeah, we do a lot. And then, as you mentioned, we have our family support program. So we're very lucky that alongside our TEI funding, we have a philanthropic grant, which allows us for another worker 2 days a week, a family support worker. So I think we have a caseload of about 25 between them. So, we're very lucky to have that extra funding, and that allows us to do that one-on-one work with families. So, yeah.
And you're not the only one who says that sometimes to provide services to the community, to run our programs, it means we have to kind of rely on other funding that we get to bring that together and build our capacity to be able to do it. I was keen to find out from you when you mentioned about the programs for families. I think one of the initiatives that leaders supporting you is guiding children's behaviour.
Yes, so
by
Louise Porter.
Yes.
We've just been doing some heavy duty promotion, in the lead up. That's coming up next week. So we've got quite a few people booked in, but I've just been emailing all our colleagues, all my colleagues saying, can you please promote this, because it's such a good opportunity to have somebody come out to a Hawkesbury like that. So yeah, we're very excited.
Catherine, when you were showing us around, you mentioned that, was it last year or this year?
Last
financial year. There was about 420 hampers that was given out through Richmond Community Services. How do you make that happen?
So as I mentioned, we're not funded for that. So we get a donation from Second Bite. They're out at Penrith. And we're lucky enough we have a volunteer that goes and picks that up for us every week. I used to do it, but the last month or so we've had somebody else do that, which is great. And then it's actually managed by our volunteers. We've got an office volunteer most days. We're here 4 days a week, so we're lucky enough to have a volunteer in the office, so they will come out and help. It's a really difficult time for people, and I mentioned, I've been in the sector for 35 years, and going back, in those early days when I worked in neighbourhood centres, if somebody came in struggling, we as workers would think about how we could change their situation. It might have been running a budgeting course or, back to the workforce skills. But unfortunately, in this times we live in, that's not going to help, because it's just the total cost of living is just impacting so many people. So basically open the cupboards and let people choose their own foods. We don't ask any questions. We just, it's anonymous. You come, you get, people. We talk to people, obviously, and it's really interesting hearing the stories. And it's not just, unemployed people coming for food. I had a nurse come in one day she worked part-time, her husband's working, they got 2 kids, and she said, I had to pay bills this week, so I just couldn't get food on the table. So she was very creative. She was in there working out, if I take this with this, I can make this, and that'll last, 2 minutes. And so we have the partnership with the Country Women's Association next door, where they're cooking food for us with some of the supplies we give them. And we're working with them on some recipe cards. So they've come and had a look at the pantry and seen what our key products are, and they're going to, so when people come, we can actually give them some recipes to take home as well. So
having met some of your team at the Marana Night of Bowl, I can definitely see it's the happiness that's most important.
And that's the thing, we enjoy doing things like that. That not necessarily a day in the office, but we had the opportunity to go to the ball, and it was fabulous.
And you're quite right. It's a two-way process. It's top down, bottom up as well. Right? We need to create a workplace culture that's mutually supportive. So which I can definitely sense. And fantastic.
I love my team.
Excellent. One of the things I was really encouraged by your leadership was when Lead started the community of practice, which was trying to bring consistency in the sector across our policies, procedures, practices. I think you were one of the first few organizations and leaders to say, hey, we need that. And I know how busy we can be. And especially in a smaller organization like ours, we kind of have to be very mindful where we put our time and resources. But you actively got involved, and you were so supportive in providing your space here for us to have it. So thank you for thinking ahead, thinking more holistically, thinking more for bringing consistency in the sector. Really appreciate it from a Lead's perspective.
And that's the other thing, we need to keep growing and learning, like for ourselves. As I said, I've been in the sector for 35 years, but everything's like, things are changing all the time. And I remember that first community of practice, something that Catherine White had said, and I was like, I did not know that. And it was like something fairly simple, but I was like, I just didn't know that. And then I came back and did a bit more research, and because got the notes from those sessions, and it was really good. So I think we've got to keep learning and got to keep growing. And the other thing was really good was in the community practice was connecting with other services.
Yes.
So how do you manage that? What do you do? And just that. Because sometimes, you can go to a training session or a learning thing, and it's the information's good, but how do you put that into practice in a neighbourhood centre, which is very different from other circumstances, like other situations. So having other people to bounce ideas off, I found really, really useful.
Well, I always say policies are not something that are meant to sit on the shelf. They're supposed to, we're meant to understand it and implement it, but it's not easy for us who are managing smaller organizations to manage our time effectively to be able to do it. So community of practice does help, which is why we started it, Catherine.
The changes, I think the first one we talked about the new leave, some changes with the leave policies, and then I forget what the other one was, but like straight away we were able to bring those in and update our policies, where that would have been a lot further down the track had I not been in there. Like it would have been on the list, but yeah. So for me, it's knowing that I can call and ask for information. Like Jack's been really good when I've needed things, and when Dan was on board,
Yes.
I'd only have to send an email, I'd get an answer back straight, pretty much straight away. Or if they didn't know, they'd come back to me. So I find that's because when you're busy, you sort of
Need that quick response.
Yes, I need to know now. Sorry, not putting pressure on the team, but yeah, no, I did find that really, really useful. I do like the variety of the training options that you have online. Those short little courses are really good, and I think when myself and another team member did attend a session that we weren't particularly happy with, but we spoke to Jag
Yes.
afterwards about all that stuff, and he took it all on board, and
Yes.
it was, we still got stuff out of the session, but there was just a few
So your
things that
expectation was something, yes,
and
I remember that.
really take it, I knew he was taking it on board what we were telling him, and was apologetic about certain things, and that were out of his control, but to be listened to is really important. So that's, you can give that feedback back to him too.
Thank you, certainly will.
And yeah, so that's really important, and what more could you do? I think that I don't know, that variety of stuff, like you're sort of doing it anyway. Like coercive control is such a big thing at the moment, and you've just run the 2 sessions. Like that helps us then, because you pass that information down to us, and that keeps us informed and yeah.
Thank you.
No
Really
worries.
appreciate your time, and it's been wonderful to learn a bit more about Richmond Community Services, and look forward to working more closely with you.
Lovely. I never did put that social media post up when we met. We
No,
took that photo. I said I was
yes,
going to
we
share
need
it.
to do that. Maybe we certainly will do this one.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
once
you. Nice
again.
to see you, and thanks for coming out.